morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting shortly. I request you to bear with us. Can we please have a loud round of applause for all our dignitaries and honorable guests here this morning? And I would like to now invite all our dignitaries on the dais. I would request them to join us as I call out their names. Major Vineet Kumar, Founder and Global President, Cyber Peace. Shri Rajiv Agarwal, Director and Head of Public Policy, Meta India. Mr. James Myalang, Deputy Secretary, National Commission for Women. Lieutenant General B.S. Raju, UYSM, AVSM, YSM, Vice Chief of Army Staff. Srimati Rekha Sharma, Chairperson, National Commission for Women. It's not even midday yet, we can do better than that, please. May we have a louder round of applause? Yeah. Thank you so much. मिलते नहीं सहज ही मोती गहरे पानी में, बढ़ता दुगना उत्साह उसी हैरानी में। मुट्ठी उसकी खाली हर बार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। Now, while it is true that an unfortunate number of women are becoming victims of cyber crimes, it is also true that most of them are possibly in the age group of 18 to 24. And that perhaps only a very mild percentage even report having ever experienced cyber harassment. Now, it is in the light of these instances that the Digital Shakti campaign came into being 4 years ago, with a focus on making women and girls understand digital literacy, teach them about responsible online behavior, and equip them with the know-how about technology and also safety and privacy tools. क्योंकि लहरों से डरकर नैया पार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. Namaskar, good morning, Suprabhat. I am Niharika Bhuvania with you, professional anchor and radio jockey. And today, with all my heart, I welcome you to the launch of the 4th edition of the Digital Shakti campaign. I think just about now would be the perfect time for a round of applause. Now, just as transitions are a major part of life and change is the only constant, we too are going through a phase of transition and going into a phase of change. So while the first 3 phases were all about spreading awareness, the 4th phase, the one that we are in, is now about moving on to skill development and capacity building of women and girls in cyberspace. Well, I'll pass on more information to you as the morning unfolds gradually, but for now, let's begin with the most important thing. You know, it's a core belief in our Indian culture that God's first and foremost appearance is in the form of light, the Divya Jyoti, the divine guiding light. हमारे मार्ग को प्रकाशित करने वाली इस दिव्य ज्योति को प्रज्वलित किए बिना आगे बढ़ना शायद समझदारी की बात नहीं होगी. इसीलिए इस दिव्य ज्योति को रोशन करने के लिए मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी हमारे रिस्पेक्टेड डिग्निटरीज और चीफ गेस्ट को. I would request our dignitaries to join us in the lighting of the lamp. Well, this being a very important part of our Indian tradition and culture and leading us to light all the way. Thank you, respected dignitaries. Let's move on. Motivation is what gets us started, and discipline and habit are what keep us going. I think these are common quotes that we all find on Instagram. I found them there as well, and I thought the morning is perfect to use them. It's also quite true, that we first form our habits, and then our habits make us. And remaining safe online could quite well be a function of following basic habits like not sharing passwords, not keeping the same passwords for each account that we have online. Also, something as simple as not accepting friend requests from people we don't know could go a long, long way. But then again, I only speak from a layman's perspective, and I would now like to introduce you to someone who is quite adept when it comes to inculcating cyber peace as a habit in netizens. However, before I invite him on the dais, I want to tell you a little something about the Cyber Peace Foundation. It's an award-winning, non-partisan civil society organization, and I can easily call them the think tanks of cybersecurity. Well, they're policy experts with a vision of pioneering cyber peace initiatives. And they're also involved in policy advocacy, research, and training related to all aspects of cyber peace and cybersecurity. Technology, governance, policy review, and advocacy are only a few of the areas that I would like to mention that they've done some excellent work in and continue to make great strides. And on that note, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Major Vineet Kumar, founder and global president, Cyberpeace. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Niharika. Dignitaries on the dais, I'll start off with Honorable Chairperson Srimati Rekha Sharma, Lieutenant General B.S. Raju, UYSM, AVSM, YSM, Vice Chief of Army Staff, Mr. Rajiv Agarwal from Meta, and Mr. James from the National Commission for Women. The dignitaries of the dais, we have a mixed crowd today. People from I would say representatives from all the three forces are there. We are represented by ladies also who are here today. We have students, we have people from the media. I see people coming from all walks of life, and that's what cyberspace is. When we talk about cyber is all about multi-stakeholderism and again, collaboration, and I see one collaboration that is happening in the hall today. We'll start off with a quick brief on Cyber Peace Foundation. Well, we started quite early. In fact, in the year 1999 is when our, I would say, the genesis of the foundation started. We were earlier known as the National Anti-Hacking Group, where we were a bunch of ethical hackers with, there are categories of hackers. As you all know, there are black hats, there are white hats, there are gray hats. Black hat are the ones, as the name suggests, they are known for something negative. They are the ones who hack. Cyber criminals को हम black hat के category में डालते हैं. White hat are the ones who do good stuff, and gray hats are the one who are combination of a white hat and a black hat. Now we were white hats purely, a bunch of ethical hackers, and why we started working was, and by the way, this is an era where we had no Google, 1999, no Google, no Facebook, none of the platforms where access to the resources were freely available. So everything what we had was just in a form of a IRC, Internet Relay Chat channel. There was a particular hacking channel where people used to hack different banks, institutions, and that's where we thought that we'll learn about this knowledge, but this knowledge is something that we'll use it for the social good and not destructive. With that motive, we started National Anti-Hacking Group, and till around 2013, we were running with the same name, but the entire set of initiatives were called Cyber Peace Initiatives, because the entire focus was a peaceful cyberspace, and that's what we are, about making the cyberspace peaceful. So 2013, we renamed the organization as Cyber Peace Foundation with a vision to go global. Cyberspace does not have boundaries. So we thought, why do we keep ourselves limited to the Indian boundaries? It's time to go beyond India, and today, in fact, Cyberpeace is present in almost 50 countries through our volunteers with our official bases at America and Africa. Whatever we do, whatever kind of work we do, is all aligned to and creating a peaceful cyberspace. We do a lot of work on the outreach. People say that cyber peace is, it's like quite broad. The work is quite broad. So we work with policymakers, we work with netizens on the ground because we want to understand what are the gaps. जब हम गांव में गए, we went to tribal areas, we went to rural areas, we found a lot of problems happening with young girls, women, the vulnerable population. Even we found problems with the senior citizens. So there are a lot of problems, but we thought we'll address problems step by step. Let us start working in the segment of safety of women and children, those who are considered most vulnerable in the cyberspace. And we thought, let's conceive a program to kind of empower them in the cyberspace so that they feel more empowered. It's not to be vulnerable, but feel confident when it comes to cyber and do as much as you can and contribute and making the safe peaceful. So that's why, in fact, with my initial discussion with Rekha ma'am 2015, and let me tell you, earlier I'd gone to the commissions, spoken to the chairpersons, 2013, 2014, but that interest was not there. I used to push, this is required, very much required, but I couldn't see that kind of shift. When I went to ma'am, the very first discussion I remember, we connected on a Fauji note because ma'am is also a Fauji wife. So see, we connected on that, and the moment I mentioned to ma'am, ma'am immediately caught on to it and said, yes, we have to do it. So 2015 is when we started working. We launched a formal program with the help of Meta because we wanted an industry partner to support it. Again, thanks to Meta, to kind of immediately agree to this request and said, yes, we should do this. We kicked off a national level program from Haryana, launched by the then governor of Punjab and Haryana. That's how the entire journey started. And today, in fact, we have reached to netizens from across the country. I would not say कि हमने किसी एक state को छोड़ दिया. We have gone everywhere. We have gone to universities, we have gone to schools, we have gone to academia, we have gone to industry, working women, everywhere. That's the kind of coverage of this initiative today. And let me also tell you, probably this is one of the biggest programs that we have throughout the world, the biggest digital empowerment and digital skilling program on cybersecurity, online safety. So that's how it is today. Now we are doing a shift. We want to move. We don't just want to call empowerment or awareness. We don't want to just do awareness. We want to move beyond awareness. And what would be beyond awareness is by skilling you, making you empowered so that you are our eyes and ears on the ground. You are the peacekeepers on the ground. We don't say warriors at Cyber Peace. We are not creating cyber warriors. We keep creating a cohort of peacekeepers who can fight the evil that the cyberspace has. And the evil, whether it comes to ransomware, whether it is stalking, bullying, sextortion, there are a lot of crimes. I don't want to go on the set of crimes that are happening, but let me also tell you that on the ground there are plenty of challenges that we see, and again we have been working with the commissions, with the government to kind of address it. Problems like issue of, say, trafficking of women. Now, you would think that trafficking is just only in the physical space. If you think like that, I would say you are wrong. Today, the first connect that the criminals have is on the tech platforms. That's how things have started. Criminals have started making use of different platforms, and whether your child, and in fact, for all those who are mothers or those who are parents, your children are also vulnerable. The kind of predators who are there, they are reaching out to children of all age groups, or in fact, of all segments and all working groups and profile, and they kind of target them through different platforms and then further abuse them, cause them different kind of cyber harms. That's how things are kind of shaping up. So don't think that if you are from a well-to-do family, nothing can happen wrong to a child. It can happen anywhere because all the barriers that were created are all broken. There are no barriers for the cyber criminals. They can reach out to anyone and everyone through the space. So now is the era that we know about responsible usage of tech, on how the tech can be responsibly used, how I can empower myself through tech, and also act as a peacekeeper to assist victims on the ground or somebody whom you know. So that's why it calls for global, I would say collaboration, local as well as global collaborations at all levels. And like I mentioned, I see a good set of collaboration happening in the room. I had series of discussions with some of you, and I see sense of like there were students who reached out that, sir, we have to set up cyber kind of centers and clubs in the academia. There were, again, some industry folks who said we can also do something. So all of us, I think it has to be like a movement where we all kind of come together on one platform and create an impact in the society. With that, I'd like to close. Thank you so much for a patient hearing, and I wish all the best for the launch of Digital Shakti Initiative. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vineet sir, for enlightening us. And I would also like to tell you that the Digital Shakti campaign is a joint collaboration between National Commission for Women, Meta, Cyberpeace Foundation, and Autobot InfoSec. And with that, let me take you forward now. कहते हैं कि सफ़र खूबसूरत है, मंजिल से भी. Speaking of journeys and destinations, life moves in only one direction, which is forward. It's true, right? But perhaps sometimes it's great to look back and appreciate the view from the summit that we are at and to appreciate the journey that we've already made, you know. So we launched phase 1 of this campaign in Punjab University, Chandigarh, on the 18th of June, 2018, which lasted till December 2019. And again, I'm going to use a very cliched statement here, but I guess that's the best way to put it. There has been no looking back ever since. The second phase took off on 11th February 2020. And here's where we set a record of completing the campaign in a time period of 12 months. And this was despite the pandemic looming large across the world, right? And the exciting third phase saw its launch in an equally exciting place in Leh Ladakh on the 4th of March, 2021. Now, ever since the first phase, we've been on a heartwarming journey of 400 plus workshops, which have helped in skilling 329,000 plus girls and women. But seeing all of this would be much better than me talking to you about more data rights. So let me now show you a small video of what it's been like in these past 4 years. Can we have the video, please?
साइबर सिक्योरिटी के जरिए हम ये पता लगा सकते हैं कि जो पूरे विश्व में जो क्राइम फैला हुआ है हम उसके बारे में जान सकते हैं और हमें ये भी बताती है कि फेसबुक के अकाउंट को लॉक कर रखना चाहिए और साथ ही साथ व्हाट्सएप में 2-step वेरिफिकेशन फॉलो करना चाहिए.
I learned many things from this program. Some of the things were to use VPNs, to use encrypted websites and apps, to log out after using in a public PC or computer, to use strong passwords and use special characters in it.
Good morning, I'm Lavanya from the Department of Chemistry. As a non-computers, we don't have that much knowledge on cybercrime, but now we at least come to know on our credentials get hacked by using fake SMS links, emails and fake websites. We thank you so much from our road.
আমার নাম অরুণা চক্রবর্তী, আমি কেন্দ্রীয় বিদ্যালয় এনআইডি আগরতলা ক্লাস 9-এর ছাত্রী। আজকে আমরা একটা সুযোগ পেয়েছি সাইবার সিকিউরিটি প্রোগ্রাম দেখার জন্য, যেটা আয়োজিত করা হয়েছিল সাইবার পিস ফাউন্ডেশন থেকে। আর আমি এটা শিখেছি যে কোনোদিনও আমাদের নিজের পাসওয়ার্ড সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া প্ল্যাটফর্মে শেয়ার করতে নেই, আর সবসময় স্ট্রং পাসওয়ার্ড ক্রিয়েট করার জন্য।
In this webinar, we think Digital Shakti 3.0, we learned many things. We have learned about cyber security. What is cyber security? What are the different types of cyber attacks that are likely to occur? That is phishing, vishing, smishing, etc. We have also got to know the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. And the best part of the session was Sir explaining about how we can identify the fake websites and how we can protect our data from identity theft, etc.
This webinar is on digital
thank God for video technology. We get to capture the best moments of our lives and our projects and put them together, right? And this also why journeys are more important than destinations, because when we look back, we realize that it is the journey that made us evolve and grow into the person that we were meant to be to fit into our destination perfectly. चलिए मैं आपको अब अपने अगले अतिथि से मिलवा देती हूँ। 2004 की बात है, हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी के एक स्टूडेंट ने एक ख्वाब देखा था। ख्वाब बहुत ही छोटा और सिंपल था, लोगों को जोड़े रखना। And as a result of that dream, one of the most popular social networks that we spend most of our time today on was born. Initially, only for American university students, in 2006, it was thrown open to everyone, at least 13 years of age with a valid email address, right? And today, it is not just people and brands who make their voices reach their audiences, but it is also worthy causes that seek to leave this world a better place than when they found it. Now, in our journey of 4 years, Meta has been the wind beneath our wings, with its immense contribution towards the goals of this campaign. It is my absolute delight now to hand over the dais to Shri Rajiv Agarwal, Director and Head of Public Policy, Meta India. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and although it's pretty humbling to be standing in place of Mark and actually living through his dream. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Chairperson of the National Commission for Women, Rekha Sharma ji, Lieutenant General Raju ji, Major Vineet, James, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a pleasure, it's indeed a privilege to be here standing amongst you as we launch the 4th phase of this critical campaign, not only for us as a society, but especially for the women and the girls of India. And I must thank Major Vineet. He's been the driving force behind this campaign that's really not only covered over 3 lakh girls, 3 lakh women, pan-India, but now has set the ambitious target of covering 1 million more in the 4th phase. And as he said, I really like the use of the word peacekeepers rather than warriors. We often tend to confuse between the two, but I think so it's a very important difference that he's highlighted out here, and that's maybe one of the reasons why it's a program that has really gained global recognition, with the UN also recognizing this program in the year 2020. Essentially in terms of bridging the gender divide, and this getting recognition from the UN was something which was really critical for us. Now at Meta, and Sunita ji is here, we were just discussing some of the aspects on user safety, on the safety of women and children online a few moments ago. This is something which is critically important to us as a platform and as a company. Even as they have the experience, and even as they come online to share stories, to share photographs, to share their experiences with their friends, with their family, we want that experience to be safe. We want that to be an enriching, to be an experience that they enjoy and not something that they would fear. So that they can not only experience the online world, but also drive the benefits of technology as they go ahead. If I may just highlight some of the initiatives, the Digital Shakti is obviously one of the biggest and I would say one of the most humbling experiences for Meta in India that we have had over the past few years. There's another campaign that we are running with the NCW. This is the Women's Safety Reporting Campaign, and started only recently. We do realize that for the online safety of women, there has to be more and more awareness that what are the tools, what are the resources available to them, and the fact that they need to report if they find any harassment online, or if they find any inappropriate content, any inappropriate behavior online. It's not something to be fearful of. Action does get initiated, action is taken, and this is something, again, Sunita ji, I'll refer to what you said earlier. We are not only looking at English. While English is one of the primary languages on the platform, we are currently covering this campaign in 5 Indian languages also: Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, Kannada, and Tamil, and maybe someday soon in Malayalam also. The other initiative that we have launched recently is the Mary Trust Line. This is for children, the ages of 9 to 18, who face online harms, cyberbullying, loss of control over intimate images. So we offer help in 6 distinctive ways: technical, emotional, informational, etc. Here again, this helpline is in 3 languages: English, Hindi, and Marathi as of now. And obviously, we look at expanding the gamut and the whole realm of languages that we offer these services in. The Stop NCII platform. So we have non-consensual intimate imagery that gets profligated across platforms online. Here we are seeking to empower women to prevent the spread of NCII, and here again we partner with global partners based in the UK and elsewhere. And again, this is an initiative which has been developed using global partners, using global stakeholders who have been part of this process. Another one which we started recently has been with CBSE, where we are looking at enabling young students, young minds, and making them enabled digital citizens. So classes 6 to 8 is where we've launched a curriculum for students across India with across all the CBSE schools, so as to enable them to be better and be digital nagriks, if I may use the word out here. While these initiatives are all there, and we would be more than happy to have more and more sessions on these training programs and go deeper into the details of these programs. मैं जब शुरू में आई थिंक सो निहारिका वाज मेंशनिंग अबाउट द ज्योति, सो उसके बारे वो एक एनालॉजी, एक उदाहरण मैं यहाँ पे लेना चाहूँगा. सो ये जो पूरा ढांचा आप यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं, जो पूरा इकोसिस्टम देख रहे हैं, दैट्स आई वुड कंपेयर दिस टू द NCW. दैट्स द बेडरॉक ऑफ एवरीथिंग वी डू. उसके अंदर जो तेल है या घी, वो रिसोर्स सेंटर है हमारा. जो नॉलेज, जो वीडियोस विनीत, मेटा, हम सब मिलकर तैयार करते हैं, जो रिसोर्सेज तैयार करते हैं, और फिर जो एक लॉ उसमें जलती है, जो ज्योति जलती है, उसमें एक बहुत अहम बिंदु है जो आप मिस कर जाएंगे, कि उसमें कपूर लगाया जाता है. यदि वो कपूर नहीं होगा तो या तो वो एकदम जलेगा और लॉ वहीं पे बुझ जाएगी, या फिर वो जलेगा ही नहीं, बहुत समय लेगा. वो कपूर का काम साइबर पीस फाउंडेशन करती है, जिससे कि वो ज्योति ना केवल एकदम जल जाए, पर वो निरंतर जलती रहे. And I would really like to thank you, Vineet. It's a tremendous work that you're doing out there, and we are truly privileged, truly humbled to be a partner in this endeavor. Once again, thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर योर काइंड एड्रेस. मेरा मानना है लाइफ में इंस्पायरिंग हस्तियों से मुलाकात होती रहनी चाहिए, लाइफ में प्रेरणा बनी रहती है. अब मैं आपको ऐसी ही एक इंस्पायरिंग हस्ती से मिलवाने वाली हूँ. लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, लेट अस वेलकम लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल BS राजू, UISM, AVSM, YSM, Vice Chief of Army Staff, for his address. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, it's an honor and a privilege for being invited to an event of this nature, which is quite at odds with the uniform that I'm wearing. But I'm happy that this opportunity has been given, and I will try and make sense of it. Firstly, the good part is that we all have got together here to discuss this very important subject. So the fact that we are collaborating at this scale itself tells there is a big problem, and that we need to address it in right earnest. In fact, today in the morning, I was going through the brochure that was given to me on this particular subject, and the statistics were quite appalling and in some way encouraging. Today, India is the second largest user of internet. But where things start to get wrong is India is also the third largest country which gets cyberbullied. And of all the bullying that takes place, that statistics were shown that 98% of the people who get bullied are women. So now if you start doing some number crunching, we are a 1 billion plus population. and 50% is women, that is 500 million plus, and of which I would say that the people who would be in the vulnerable class would be easily 400 million. And today we are talking of scaling up this project in phase 4 at 1 million. So we have an exponential path to address this humongous problem. So that is the scale of the problem that we are talking of. And but the good part is we have made a beginning. All good work needs a start, and we have gone through phase 1, 2, and 3. My compliments to the entire team sitting here. And now phase 4, we are going on 1 million. And now the issue is how are we going to scale it up in phase 5, 6, 7 to hit the 300, 400 million mark. I have a written script and I'm getting a little confused because the subject is so interesting to go through the script or speak a little more openly on this subject. I think the challenge for all of us sitting here is that internet has opened a new world to us. And I always say internet is democratization of knowledge. A child sitting here has the same access to knowledge, information to a child who is sitting in San Francisco. But having said that, it has also exposed those very same people to the pitfalls or the roadblock or the hurdles that come along this digital space. So we need to encounter and realize this path. So the issue is that we must make our children, our students, our women community to be able to use this resource and yet be confident that you will come out of it more knowledgeable and not bruised, if I can say it. The challenge is also that today you cannot stop people from using social media. It is too inviting. Meta and Party have made it that way. Having said that, after how do you get out of it is the next issue. You're trying to protect yourself, but your wandering mind took you on the wrong path. And please be hearing what you have gone through with your parents, with your teachers. They can help you. In fact, I was telling people sitting on the dais that if somebody can explain a few real-life cases of how you went wrong, you reported, and the issue was addressed, and the situation was retrieved, I can tell you there is no problem which is irretrievable. If you have gone the wrong path, please get back. Herein lies the problem of shaming. You are worried about you exposing that particular predator or a problem that you're facing. I can tell you that it is better to get over with it and come back to your normal life than to live a terrible life. So please report the cases and ensure that this path are brought to book. And I was also discussing with the NCW that we need to have more stringent rules and regulations in place at the level of the government, at the level of the application developers, to ensure that people who are walking on this wrong path are brought to justice and they are made examined. I'm happy that the government has taken this path to bring in greater regulatory mechanisms, and I'm sure we should be able to make sense of it. And my compliments to Cyber Peace Foundation for the work that you're doing. And I'm also AWA, which is the naval equivalent of it. We will be going through these mechanisms within our own organizations to ensure that our families are protected. And I'm also conscious that our families are more vulnerable than the general population because of the need to compromise them and in the process compromise the security of our own establishments and our actions. So all that is left for me is to compliment the Cyber Peace Foundation, the National Council for Women, and for the God bless.
At events in life, we anchors depend on that, and it's kind of thrilling to a great degree. Share with you this morning, and they're relevant for another reason as well. She says sessions to about 60,000 women across India, enabling them to chairperson National Commission for Women. Chairperson National Commission for Women. It's time that I now make you meet her. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Srimati Rekha Sharma, Chairperson, National Commission for Women. Over to you, ma'am.
Vice Chief of Army Staff, Shri Rajiv Agrawal, Director of Head of Public Policy, Major Vineet, who is representing and who is I think, hero of today's show. He's from Cyber Peace Foundation. But not many people understand the importance of digitalization and IT. And since the time I joined as a chairperson in 2017, we started working together. And in 2018, we had our first program, Digital Shakti, and that time with Facebook, now Meta. And we had that time named it We Think Digital. Am I right? Digital Shakti was the later, yeah. So later we thought Digital Shakti and about it in the second program. The NCW was seeing that the cyber crime was increasing at that time, and it still is increasing, I can say. But along with students, to empower them digitally, to empower them how they can start their own business, their own women. And that was the opportunity I grabbed, and I started working because the government initiative and our own Prime Minister at that time started many others place. Even Pradhan Mantri Digital Saksharta Abhiyan, which is for women in rural world. So with that, we started this program, and I can say that we have now came a long way, because in next phase we have a big target, 1 million people, and I think that opportunity which they should got, and we must empower them digitally now, at least young girls. We all have got used to social media. We are using platforms, different platforms, whether it is Facebook, Instagram and other platforms. But still many girls and many women don't know how to be safe on those platforms. Make them vulnerable, whether whatever kind of crime happening them, cyber crime. I can say that this technology has double-edged sword. And there are so many kinds of crimes around us which is happening. And ladies and gentlemen, you must watch a Netflix series, Jamtara. Really want to know what all kinds of crimes are there, because I also didn't know about it, though I didn't know those kinds of crimes are happening around us. So whether it is banking crime or crime against women, every kind of crime is been shown over there, and we must show it to our young girls also, and even boys, because we want them not to do all those things. So boys also should see, because these crimes are done by the young boys only, because they are tech savvy. So whether you are talking about cyber stalking, cyber bullying, email spoofing, especially social media. And if you don't know how to make yourself safe, you will be the next target. So ladies and young girls, you must own money. Marriage is not the, and should not be the aim of the life. Young girls who are sitting here, I must tell you that you should first empower yourself financially and then think of marriage. And with this program has also gone a long way. They are empowering girls these days. It is not only a platform where you can exchange your views or socialize on the online. You can also learn so many things on these platforms. I think about different aspects, how you can be safe and what all technology can teach you. I must thank Meta and Cyber Peace Foundation to collaborate with NCW and the teams of Meta and Cyber Peace Foundation and National Commission for Women, because together we have reached a point where we can say that next phase we may have now we are targeting for a world record where we can train more women in one phase only. We can achieve safe and secure place for our women and children. Thank you so much. Thank you.
रहेगा कुछ ना कुछ, घबराएं क्या? Well, the world was burning before we were here. I'll share it with you. And खासकर हमें घबराने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है जब तक हम सब साथ हैं, because together we can and together we will. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable insights and for your address. And it's now time for me to on to the next item on the agenda. जो मैं अब आपसे कहना चाहूँ वो कोई राज की बात नहीं। इस वक्त मैं चाहूँगी आपका पूरा साथ, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं। Because it's now time to lift the curtains on the 4th edition campaign, and this time we resort to video technology once more to unveil the curtain raiser. थैंक यू मिस्टर जेम्स फॉर ब्यूटिफुली कंक्लूडिंग द मौसम नहीं कि खिजर की हम पैरवी करें, जाना एक बुजुर्ग हमें हम सफ़र मिले। We're all cyber peace to felicitate our respected dignitaries. First up, we have Lieutenant General B.S. Raju, UISM, AVSM, YSM, Vice Chief of Army Staff. National Commission for Women. And our heartfelt gratitude to all the dignitaries for joining us here this morning, as also for our audience. Well, speaks competition, right? So Cyber Peace Foundation as well. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is we have a quiz running side by side. So you might have those kits that you received in the morning, right? Do I have your confirmation on that? Can you just hold them up and show them to me? Does everybody have their kits? Great. So you will see a QR code there. There are exciting prizes to be won. Well, I don't say exciting without cause, because top 2 winners stand to win Alexa. And any doubts, well, please reach out to the volunteers near you. The winners stand to win an Alexa. So this is where, we need to put our thinking hats on, and it's a time-sensitive quiz before we roll into the panel discussion. So just quickly get on your mobile phones. I think it's going to be one-of-a-kind event where the host is asking you to take your mobile phones out and to use them to the best of your ability. Otherwise, we're always asked to put them on silent. So please do make full use of these 15 minutes and go ahead with the quiz. So 15 minutes. So we can keep going till the timers don't tell us to stop. We've got a few more minutes. Let's keep going quickly, and yeah, probably a little over 5 minutes remaining now from what I know. medium, difficult? What is it like? I want an answer. Louder, please, louder. Medium. All right. Okay. That is so. Medium to easy is the response I get. I guess I need to tell Shimoni. Well, I didn't ask the people that. Doesn't seem like it. Well, yes, that section is. से थोड़ा ज़्यादा मिनट्स आपको मिल गए थे बट जस्ट अ शो ऑफ हैंड्स हाउ मेनी पीपल पास द क्विज ये बताओ मुझे लेट्स रेज फुल हैंड्स नो एंड 2 हैंड्स confidence we need that confidence so many people pass the quiz wow I guess choosing top 2 winners is going to be very difficult Shimoni are you ready for that she says she's ready for that chalo theek hai we shall see and I want to hear a very loud cheer jisko bhi shout out I don't need a show of hands I need a shout out Anmol Anushka yahan se koi nahi hai jisko lagta hai prize unka hoga okay all right yeah that's what out so I know now that you're ready for the panel discussion okay then to roll into a very enriching panel discussion on safe spaces online. I get to assume the role of a teacher and ask you to settle down first. Can we all please settle down? About safe spaces online, together combating cyber-enabled human trafficking and other. So I hand it over to our moderator, Padam Shri Sunita Krishnan ji, General Secretary Prajwala. And I must tell you that Prajwala is Asia's largest, and she's the recipient of the 4th highest Indian civilian honor, Padam Shri. And she's recognized as the 150 fearless women in the world by Newsweek. Over to you, ma'am, to take this forward.
Do all these mics work? Okay. Namaskar, very, very good afternoon. Before I start, I would like to invite my esteemed panelists, Lieutenant Ashutosh Pandeyji, who's the Deputy Secretary of National Commission for Women. Like to invite Shri Pawan Dugalji, Advocate from the Supreme Court. Like to invite Mr. Virendra Mishra ji, AIG, SISF, Madhya Pradesh Police. Virendra Mishra ji. Okay. And my last panelist, Preeti Chauhan, Director Operations. So this panel is going to be an interactive panel. And the way we will conduct this panel is that I'm going to be asking questions to my panelists. And through their answers, I'm more awakened and educated about this problem. But before we start the panel discussion, may I just set the context for you. In this panel, we will be talking about cyber-enabled crimes against women and children. I have been in the mission to rescue women and girls out of. After removing more than 26,000 women and girls out of prostitution and providing them rehabilitation, the last 3 years, I can tell you, has been the most challenging part for us. COVID during COVID, post, a whole online space was taken over by predators to spot vulnerable persons, mostly children, young persons, and from 2015. In 2015, I was recipient of 2 videos that were sent to me by concerned citizens. These videos were shocking videos. One was of a 12-year-old girl getting raped by 8 men. And another video was a young woman who was perhaps with her boyfriend in a secluded spot, gone for dating or something like that. Somebody had attacked them, the man was beaten up and the woman was raped, and that video was taken and that was posted on WhatsApp, YouTube, and various other spaces. That was my first time that I was getting involved in this cyber world space. Many things happened. To cut the long story short, I went to the Supreme Court. I demanded for all the videos to be investigated by CBI. But much more than anything else, what happened is, I had started a campaign called as Shame the Rapist campaign at that time, in 2015, where I took these videos, the faces of the victims, highlighted the faces of the rapists, and posted it on Facebook. Now, for some reason, the entire world thought Sunita Krishnan is the only post office available in India to report such crimes. So in matter of few hours, I started getting many people reporting to me saying that we also got this video, we also got this video. So one of my first prayers in the Supreme Court was, can citizens report anonymously or not? Why should any citizen become a complainant in such case? Because becoming a complainant means you have to go to the court, you have to testify and things like that. Nobody wants to take that kind of jhanjat. So thanks to all our efforts in the Supreme Court, the cybercrime.gov.com, that is the portal to report cyber crimes, came in India. After that, I started seeing a lot of crimes at very close range. And let me give you 1 or 2 examples. I'm just setting the context from which this panel discussion will happen. A couple of years back, I had this case of a 13-year-old child. Father is a software engineer, mother is a doctor, both are professionals going to work. The child is lonely at home, very active on social media, very active on Facebook and things like that. She becomes friends with an older woman on Facebook, whom she is able to relate to. They become very close friends, online friends. This child is chatting with this older woman. I keep saying older women with quote unquote on my hand because till date we don't know whether it is a woman or a man. They form a very close relationship. The child starts sharing with this person. And one of the things that the child is sharing with this lady is, or supposedly lady, is, I feel very uncomfortable about my body. My classmates tease me. They call me Amla and Gooseberry. And so, I feel very depressed. I don't want to go to school. And this lady says, don't worry. No problem at all. Just switch on your webcam. Just switch on your webcam. I will teach you exercises to improve your body size. Thereafter, for the next 6 weeks, the child is made to disrobe on camera. She's taught a lot of exercises, which is nothing but she's just masturbating on video. This goes on for 6 weeks till one of her cousins actually finds one of the videos in a porn site.
I'm so sorry. I'll just buy 2 minutes of yours. And just 2 minutes, ma'am. I would like to now, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Mr. Virendra Mishra, AIG SISF, Madhya Pradesh Police. I would now like to call upon sir on the stage to join us for the panel discussion. Our 5th guest for the panel discussion. Thank you so much.
Welcome Virendra ji to the panel.
Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
The
because a cousin found this video on a porn site. The sad part of the story, the case is not yet reported, till date. The trauma of the child, unbelievable. She refuses to come out of the house. She refuses to go to school for the simple reason she believes every Tom, Dick and Harry has seen her video. Another instance of a young woman from Bangladesh joins a friend group called as Bandhu Mitro or something like that. She's 19, 20 years old. She is in a economically disadvantaged situation. They come from a middle class family, but right now during the COVID and COVID pandemic left a huge economic devastation. Slightly, everything is pinching kind of situation. She is conversing in Bandhu Mitro chat group. She talks about her financial difficulties, and one person becomes a very good confidant, well-wisher, says, come to India. There's fantastic job available for you. She says, how do I do it? So he says, if you inform your parents and families, it's not going to be easy. I will ensure I will take care of the entire process. You just follow my advice. She's groomed. She's manipulated on this group just through various phone numbers. Just the phone calls. She crosses illegally the border, reaches Kolkata, reaches Hyderabad. She's thinking that all this effort that she's taking, that's a human smuggling actually right now going on, is going to actually change her life because she's going to get a fantastic job back in Hyderabad. What she finds herself is in a large prostitution racket. In another instant, on a social media platform, a community group in a very local language. It says Kochu Sundarigal, which means little beautiful girls. It's a community group. It's a closed group of 3,000 people. An entire group of pedophiles who are passing information to each other in very, very innocuous manner on where they can find little children to have sex with, where they can find porn material relating to children. So the world of the cyber world is a boon and a bane. At one end, it has connected all of us in a global village, Vasudhaiva Kutumbam. At another end, it has made women and girls more vulnerable to various crimes. Very unique thing about these crimes is the participation of the victim in the crime in the initial stages. Very unique about this crime is the anonymity of the predator, the difficulty in reaching a predator. So in this panel today, we will be now talking about who are the vulnerable people, how is this vulnerability trapped, what is the mechanisms used by predators, what is the legal mechanism available in our hand that we can depend on, what are the dangers of even grievous types of crimes like human trafficking that can happen through cybercrimes. And believe me, I have seen all classes, all strata of human beings who have been, victims of this crime. So there is nothing like only the poor, deprived, the tribals or, underprivileged will get. Each one of you all sitting here in this hall is equally vulnerable if you are not educated and your capacities are not built. We will also look at what is intermediary accountability. Let's start our panel discussion with Preeti. Preeti, you're from Cyber Peace Foundation. So could you start by sharing whom do you think are the most vulnerable to online exploitation, from stalking, harassment to trafficking? The range is quite tall. And how do you look at social engineering as a means of doing it?
Am I audible? So the mic is not working, I guess I'm very loud.
I'm going to off. Just be loud.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And I'm so honored to be on the same panel as you. All of you have All of you have mobile phones with you, all of you? Okay. All of you are vulnerable. As ma'am rightly said, there is no strata, there is no group which I can clearly say is most vulnerable. The only thing that differentiate you people vis-a-vis somebody who is a 10-year-old or 12-year-old is that maybe you are better placed to counter that compared to that little child. Now, when we talk about data, there is so many studies in India, and there were so many studies globally. If I start counting those studies to you, there'll be different number coming from a different way, different sources. Nevertheless, all the sources, be it study by Meta, by Google, by CyberPeace, by Indian government, by McAfee, by Nielsen, all the studies are very, very shocking. In fact, the study that I was going through today morning, this is a very, very shocking study for me also, being in this field for a very long time. A study by McAfee says that Indian kids are one of the most vulnerable in terms of cyber crimes. Why? Because Indian kids' penetration of mobile usage between 10 year to 14 year is 83%. This is the largest and highest in the world. The average is 7% more than anywhere else in the world. Also, Indian kids 10 to 14 years of age have reported 24% more cyber abuse compared to their counterparts globally. Indian parents, look at the contradiction here. Indian parents, though, have not expressed that much amount of concern about their kids. Around 47% have expressed concern compared to their global counterparts, around 60%. So all this data shows that, especially after pandemic, we have given mobile phones to our kids, and we don't have the tools. Parents don't have the information how to safeguard their kids, or rather safeguard their teenage. It's not only about girls, it's about boys also who are at the vulnerable age, let's say 18 and less. They don't know how to navigate that. So data from everywhere, when we talk about vulnerability, data from everywhere is shocking. What, of course, if I want to pinpoint which is the strata, which is the group which is most vulnerable, are anybody who's using social media. If you are on Meta, if you are on Snapchat, you're on Twitter, you're far more vulnerable for your information to be shared anywhere and everywhere, because these are the kind of websites, or these are kind of apps which forces you, entices you to give your information publicly. They want you to put your pictures out there. They want you to do geo-tagging of your places. They want you to tell the world where you're eating. They want to tell the world where you're working. These kind of apps are built for sharing. So the responsibility is on all the users to decide how much do they want to share. And 15 years usually is the age that they say. 15 years is the age for all the social media users, which is most vulnerable. And the maximum amount of, maximum number of online abuse has been reported by women from 16 to 24 years of age. This is the age. All of you, 16 to 24 years of age, has been targeted by the attackers. So if we go by data, I think that's going to confuse us in terms of who's most vulnerable. Let's assume each one of us is most vulnerable. Ma'am, we talk about social engineering. Okay? Do you guys understand what is social engineering? Okay. I'll still try and explain in a very layman language to you. Any kind of attempt that is made to influence your behavior online may be simply called social engineering. Whenever someone tries to use a strategy, a tool, not to coax you, not to threat you, not to force you for doing anything, but to manipulate your behavior, to encourage you, to kind of find out what your triggers are, and once they find out what those triggers are, then start working on those triggers. So any online crime that happens not by a bot, but by a personal interaction with the person, usually all the CSAM crime that we see, all the crimes where we see a woman being either lured into sharing any kind of inappropriate material, or where any kid is being lured into sharing any kind of inappropriate material, or when they are lured into trafficking or prostitution, all that happens through social engineering. Bots don't do that. Normal people, as my cases are not designed that way. So it's very important that you understand the tools, that how can you maximize your safety and security and privacy on these apps and on the internet, because they are not designed to give you privacy.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you so much. Virendra sir, coming to you. You're a police officer, and social media, the virtual world, the cyber world has been used very effectively by predators, organized criminal syndicate, even to traffic human beings. Could you speak a little about how social engineering has been used for cyber-enabled trafficking?
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me here. It's a wonderful program. I've been here since morning. Social media is certainly a, as Sunita ji was saying, that it is a boon as well as it can be a bane. And interestingly, after pandemic, the intrusion of social media in our life has been a little drastic, and I would say that very unplanned. You can see even the kids have been exposed to social media to the extent that it was unexpected. No parent would have allowed that much of digital space to their kids in normal days. But the pandemic has totally changed. It's a new era now in social media. So the exposure to social media is very unlimited, uncontrolled, and the worst part I would say is it is untrained. We get very happy saying that our children or the youngsters know everything about social media, which is again a myth. We hardly know anything about social media. It's become very dangerous. So I don't know if you know about a concept called mimetic desire. Have you ever heard about it? Mimetic desire. Okay. So mimetic desire is basically a concept where the desire is not intrinsic, it is not coming from inside, but something which you acquire after seeing others. And social media is creating that mimetic desire. What you have, you're not happy with that. But what you see in social media is what you normally try to imitate, emulate, and that is what is the most dangerous thing. And there is another concept called simulacrum. I don't know, again, if you have heard about that. It's, these are the things that you should understand what it is. Simulacrum is a concept because if you see in social media, what is posted is a simulated form of reality. It is not reality. It cannot be a reality because it's a virtual world. So it is simulated. You see a reality and then you simulate it and then you post it there. But simulacrum is a phenomena where a simulated world is again further simulated and it keeps on being simulated, and over a period of time, it is dragged to the extent that it is not even anywhere close to reality. And that is what is the most dangerous thing. I tell you, a small story which I was reading very recently, again from a WhatsApp post, and I don't know how many of you have read that, I've gone through it, about there were 2-3 students in a school, and as we call them naughty students, but Hindi mein bole to bade chanchal bacche the wo. So there were 2 or 3 goats in the campus of the school. What they did is, they marked the goats 1, 2, and 4. And they left that in the school campus. After a day, when the sheep, the goats littered around, so the whole management started, first the security guards started looking for them. They could get hold of the 3 goats there. But when it read the number, it was written 1, 2, and 4. The 3rd was missing. So after the security guard, the whole management started looking for that number 3 goat. And they could never find it. So that is what is social media. What you have been looking for in social media, you keep on looking, the desire keeps on growing, it gets ballooned, and You don't find it. Again, an interesting, story, what happens to the children? If you see the children in a party, small kids, I'm talking about the toddlers. So if you see the toddlers in a room, in a party playing, and suddenly one of the child gets hold of a red balloon or whatever color balloon he likes and shouts that, okay, I have got the best balloon in my hand. What do the others do? All children will leave their own balloons and start running behind him to get that red balloon. That is again what social media is. What we are trying is to chase which one we do not require, and two, it is igniting the mimetic desire in you. And when we say the mimetic desire, when Sunita ji, again, a protagonist on anti-human trafficking work in this country. So what is that? What is human trafficking? If somebody has to tell me, because I have been working in the field of human trafficking for almost now 15 years. So if we say what is human trafficking? If we have to explain, I say human trafficking is nothing, but it is exploitation of vulnerability. But again, the question comes is whose vulnerability? The person who exposes their vulnerability. And social media is a place where you expose your vulnerability. If you get disheartened, if you are disenchanted, if you feel low, you post on social media. And when you post on social media, people, the traffickers are always there for a lookout. They are looking who is exposing their vulnerability. And then they pounce on you. They identify, then they contact. I'm telling you the process how they work. First they would identify, and it is through all fake IDs that they have, identify, contact you, recruit you, groom you, and then finally they would sell you. This is how social media is used. And we don't even understand till the time we are sold. Sold is not necessarily be physical. What has happened about the IT use in the pandemic? They say in sex trafficking, the maximum increase has been in pornography field. And why? Because due to the lockdown, there was no skin-to-skin contact. The moment the skin-to-skin contact disappeared, but the desire of the people still existed, so pornography, multiplied many fold. And there is a study and survey which says that the victims of pornography are most of the time forced victims. They do not part or act there on their own willingness. So sextortion is again one of the issues, it is there. And as it was being told in the morning session that, IT use is borderless and boundless, both. So if somebody gets victimized, if they get exposed, they're not exposing themselves to just the neighborhood. They're exposing themselves globally. And the trafficker is not waiting, and they don't care because, it's an organized crime. When we say it is organized crime, they have network all across, cutting across the borders. And another thing that we have to understand is when we talk about this media, social media, be it social media, IT sector, or be it trafficking, they do not care for what class, caste, creed, religion, language you are from. For you, you are just one vulnerable person who can be exploited. So let me give you just some data before just ending, the use. There was a study done in USA, and a report has been published in Federal Human Trafficking Report. So according to that, 83% of the 2020 trafficking cases involved online solicitation. 83%. 59% of online victim recruitment in active sex trafficking cases occurred on Facebook. That is what maximum you use, 59% of them. And 65% of underage victims recruited online in 2020 were recruited through Facebook, 14% were recruited through Instagram, and 8% were recruited through Snapchat. These are all those platforms every day where which you are using and where you are there. Your presence is there. So these are the things that you should take care of. And only advice that we can give you is, besides building your capacity, besides talking to people, you should have people with whom you can confide, share. Could be your family members, could be your teachers, or could be anyone. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. The cyber world is so huge, from individual crime to crimes by organized criminal syndicates. You find everything. It's not just the social media sites, the job sites, the matrimonial sites, including the dating sites like Tinder, have been used by predators. So the scope and the entire extent of cyber crimes against women and children is huge. And that is why we need to understand what protects us, what is the legal framework, in case we become a victim. What is there for us to depend on? And I'd like to ask Pawanji, who is an advocate in the Supreme Court, to please tell us, what is the legal framework that we have today to counter cyber-enabled crimes against women? What is the intermediary kind of accountability that we have today, legally, in terms of dealing with cyber-enabled crimes?
Thank you, Sundarji. If I can give you an unfortunate news. If I can give you an unfortunate news, the news is that there is no legal framework under the Indian cyber law for human-enabled trafficking. And you can't blame lawmakers. This was a law that's done 22 years old back. That was a law that was primarily meant only for promoting e-commerce. So trying to regulate human-enabled cyber trafficking was something that was not even in the wildest imaginations of the lawmakers. Come 2008, and the IT Amendments Act took place, and there also we did not do anything. Right now, we've got some very fringe elements involved. If you can try to invoke an identity theft under Section 66C, or cheating by personation by using a computer resource under Section 66D, or even breach of privacy under Section 66E, that's the maximum that you can do under the Indian Information Technology Act 2000. And that's neither adequate nor sufficient, nor even topical or relevant in today's times. I think the time has come where we have to realize that the legal frameworks are existing in medieval ages. Things have moved dramatically forward. And it's been now 14 years since we last amended the Information Technology Act 2000. And consequently, the time has come that we need to amend this particular law, because human-enabled, cyber-enabled human trafficking is now the de facto norm of the day. Well, you may not like to see it, you may not want to believe it, but actually speaking, there's now a new revolution that I'm seeing happening in India. I have a unique name for it. I call it the Great Indian Vomiting Revolution. Indians are vomiting data about their personal, professional, social lives on the internet without even thinking of the legal ramifications of the same. And mind you, when you're vomiting your data, it's not gone, it remains. For every stakeholder, state, non-state actors, cyber criminals, to use that vomit of data to go ahead and target you, to even make you a potential victim of cybercrime or even cyber-enabled human trafficking. So there's a huge gap between what the law should be versus what the law currently is. Right now, the government is now working on amendments to the Information Technology Act 2000, and it's high time that with the National Commission of Women under my thought leadership, we could potentially ask for specific provisions in this particular regard. This is the time that we need to do that. Otherwise, Indian Penal Code is just not effective. You can, well, it's been with us for the last 150 years, but please understand the ground realities have changed. Way back in 1860, when the Indian Penal Code was enacted, nobody had any idea of internet. Nobody had any idea of cyber-enabled human trafficking, and therefore none of the provisions were actually incorporated in the law, keeping that in mind. So there's a huge gap, but I think there's one action point, one low-hanging fruit that we can do immediately, and that's the role of intermediaries. Now, intermediaries are not just the Airtels, the Vodafones, the Metas of the world. It's defined in a different world, in a different category altogether. the Indian Information Technology Act 2000. And it reads, intermediary, with respect to any particular electronic record, means any person who on behalf of another person receives, stores, or transmits any particular electronic record, or provides us any service with respect to that record. And it includes telecom service providers, network service providers, internet service providers, web hosting companies, online auction portals, online payment sites, cyber cafes, search engines. Now just pause. Anybody in the world is now becoming an intermediary. Even my local kirana shopper, who only has 2 computers, he's dealing my data, pertaining to my rations, pertaining to my order, he also becomes an intermediary. So intermediaries have become extremely powerful. And now with these big intermediaries, the big tech intermediaries of the world becoming more powerful than even the governments, the time has come where the government has to now invoke the powers under Section 87 of the Information Technology Act 2000 to come up with specific rules and regulations to regulate the role and the duties and responsibilities of intermediaries in the context of preventing cyber-enabled human trafficking. Currently, when I look at the IT Rules 2021, which got enacted on 25th of February 2021, the rules are silent on this space. I look at the IT Directions 2022, which came into effect from 28th of June 2022. They are completely silent on this. So the onus is now back on the government. If the government can actually use this power and make these particular intermediaries more responsible, that will be a good starting point. Fortunately, there is some good news. 28th of October 2022, the government has notified the Information Technology Amendment Rules 2022, under which, for the first time, the government has said that these intermediaries shall not only shall inform their users not to do things which are in violation of the law, but also shall take reasonable steps to prevent their users from doing activities which are in contravention of the law. But again, cyber-enabled human trafficking is an area that's quietly left out of the ambit of these gazette notifications. The time has come that we will have to mandate these service providers. You can't expect the service provider to say, sir, I'm a US entity, I'm governed by US laws, I can't do anything. Sorry. If you have to be in India, you have to take the slice of the Indian market, you're more than welcome to do so. But you will have to comply with Indian law. That's something that the Prime Minister has been saying, that's something that other countries have said, and I think that's something that the judiciary of this country has to effectively enforce. Because right now, the thought process is most of these intermediaries are not complying with the IT Act and the IT rules, including the rules of 2021 and 2022. But in case, if the government can actually enforce the statutory criminal liability, which they have actually brought for the first time under Rule 7 of the IT Rules 2021, that could be a good starting point. The government has said, sir, you comply with these rules. You don't comply, no problem. Just wait for 2 consequences. Number 1, your statutory exemption from legal liability is going to be withdrawn from you by operation of law. It will be snatched away. Number 2, you are liable for being punished for offences under the Information Technology Act 2000 and the Indian Penal Code. Unfortunately, there are no direct offences in this regard for cyber-enabled human trafficking, but at least for the first time, the criminal liability of intermediaries has been brought on record. It's still not enforced from February 2021 till today, barring the 4 cases of Twitter. Remember, Twitter did not comply with the IT Rules 2021, and 4 FIRs were lodged against Twitter in 4 different states of the country. But barring that, we have not yet seen the invocation of criminal liability. Maybe the time has come that we could put up some test case in this regard, because ultimately, if service providers and these intermediaries can be made more accountable to all activities which are either dealing, handling, processing, or in any case associated or connected with human trafficking through cyber methodologies, that could be a good starting point going forward. But then a lot of things will ultimately depend upon what kind of new legal frameworks will come in. Till such time as they don't come in, we'll have to rely upon the courts of the country to come up with judge-made laws and orders in this particular regard. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Pawanji. While it may sound very depressing, let me also share with you some 2 very hopeful sides. One is government has been very responsive on these issues as and when we are awakening them. Everybody is getting awakened, together, because all of us are together in this, and things are changing very fast. So one of the things that each one of you should know is about the cybercrime.gov.in, where you can report any crime related to women, children, to yourselves, to anybody that you know, even anonymously. So this platform provides you an option that you can report anonymously. You don't need to become a complainant, and the local cyber cells will take care of it. The second very hopeful sign is Government of India is now looking at bringing a comprehensive bill to fight trafficking, and I request Rekha ma'am to use her good offices to push it, so that at least in this winter session the bill will be placed in the parliament, and that I hope will bring in the cyber-enabled trafficking component in the bill. Let me go now to Lieutenant Ashutosh Pandeyji. Sir, please, you are in the National Commission for Women. So tell us, what is the nation doing to tackle this issue? You've heard from experts from all kinds. NCW is already doing a lot of things. So would you like to throw light on what all is being done to handle this very fast-growing situation?
Thank you so much, Sunita Madam. First of all, I thank Honorable Chairperson NCW for giving me this opportunity, and I'm sharing this dais with all the eminent academic personalities. It's my honor to be part of this. And I always enjoy being heard and being the part of this kind of program wherein I got the opportunity to address the students, because I am from academic fraternity. To begin with, as the students, they are the consumers since morning, I just want to ask one simple question. Where is the fishing capital of India located? Fishing capital, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Jamtara, Bihar, Jharkhand. This is fishing capital. So I just want to recap the things, what my learned experts, my co-chair panelists, they have said. As we have seen that right to privacy and internet, they are oxymoron. They cannot exist together. We are at the back foot while sharing our information with the government, but we are very happy to share everything in the media, right? In social media, whatever apps we are logging into, we are sharing our information, what they are asking for. In matrimonial websites, in fact, there are many. Jeevan Sathi, Bharat Matrimony, Shadi.com. There are others also, Panditji.com. And we know that the chatting services, if they are free in any of these matrimonial websites, we log into it and then started chatting. And these matrimonial sites, they have become more of a dating sites rather than a matrimonial site. So, just recalling the things, since morning, we have started with the couplet of Harivansh Rai Bachchan, Koshish Karne Walon ki haar nahi hoti. Then in between, we have heard Ghalib also. I just want to quote and to take my things forward. What we are doing is, Bulati hai, this is from Dr. late Rahat Indori ji. बुलाती है मगर जाने का नहीं, बुलाती है मगर जाने का नहीं, ये दुनिया है यहाँ जाने का नहीं. ये दुनिया कौन सी दुनिया? This is cyber world. We have heard Lieutenant General B.S. Raju, who has said that this word is not kind. But जाने का क्यों नहीं? जाने का, because we are here to empower you. We at NCW, we are trying everything under this planet, under the umbrella of law, wherein we can empower every girl through the programs which we are taking. We are running entrepreneurship program. We are running this digital Shakti program just for the empowerment. Because if you are knowledgeable, if you are knowing the things, because there are 3 or 4 things which everyone must know while logging into this cyber world, this big world which is without borders. You log into your website, you log into your social media account in India, and you can chat with a person who is sitting in China. And right now, there are various kind of a scam, and one which I encountered recently, wherein few persons from India, they were found in Myanmar, and that is Shazu Pan scam. Can you get the name of the Shazu Pan? This is pig butchering. Like you give things to the pig, you make it fatten so that at the end you will get big fat. Likewise, the people who are being sent as the data entry operators to Myanmar, they were luring the people sitting at Europe and America, luring through fake profiles wherein they are sharing, if on the other side there is a male, then they are sharing the picture of a good female. If there is a female, then they are sharing the picture of a good male, and then they are developing this relationship. The traffickers in cyber trafficking, we know that this luring is very important. As sir has rightly pointed out, exposing the vulnerabilities. If you are vulnerable, is ये दुनिया है जाने का नहीं, but if you are competent, if you are knowledgeable, if you are knowing your rights, as sir has already said that something there is still missing in our law, this law needs to be strengthened. But first of all, the person who is logging into their account, they need to be competent, they need to be knowledgeable, because ultimately the data is being entered from your end. Right now I am having the data of all of you, because you all have shared your mobile number, your email ID, your names with me. So you have shared that with me by your consent. You have consented to it. Likewise, you are giving consent to people in various websites. Coming back to the work which we are doing, we are conducting research because we are getting the data. We are getting the data from various kind of researchers. In fact, we at NCW sponsor research studies. In those research studies, we receive data, and through those statistics, after number crunching game, we come to the result that in certain area, for instance, if there are sexual harassment at workplace, or if there are cyber crimes, what kind of cyber crimes they are there, whether it is cyberbullying, whether it is phishing, whether that is Shuzapan kind of thing, then from that data, after churning that data, we get to know what kind of preventive steps need to be taken. Preventive steps, because ultimately the thing is going in the virtual world, but ultimately we have to correct the things in the real world. And because in the real world we have real people, we have to deal with the real people. The victim at the other end, who is a human by heart, human by nature, she comes to us, and when she reveals her ordeal to us, we have to identify those kind of things which has happened, how that can be corrected. So corrective measures need to be taken through that data. And ultimately, we know at NCW, we are running, in fact, many programs, as I have already said, for the empowerment, for the prevention, for the rescue, for the rehabilitation. And as sir has pointed out regarding the trafficking, so we are running Swadhar Grahs. Swadhar Grahs, wherein the women in distress, we may, the women, they go to those Swadhar Grahs, and then after counseling, after giving the legal advice, they will be, in a way, they will be rehabilitated and repatriated. There is a Ujjwala scheme from Ministry of Women and Child Development, looking for a new dawn, wherein ultimately through prevention, rehabilitation, and repatriation, they are to be settled with their family. Thank you so much.
Well, all of us have now understood the problem and the extent of the problem. I think we should not leave this hall without knowing what each one of us should be doing. I know I am the only one in between you and lunch, and therefore we will make the last part of this panel a little more quicker. I will request my panelists to give their answers in a short form. We look at what are
what is our responsibility, what is it that we should know, and what should we carry once we leave this hall. So may I ask Preeti, please tell us 2 things that every man, woman sitting in this hall should know on cybercrime and how they can protect themselves.
I think the mic is still not working. I'm assuming I'm audible. It's working now. Okay. 2 is a very short number, ma'am. I'll just stretch it to 4. So please go back and check your privacy settings, all the apps that you have, whether you have given permission for your microphone and your camera to be on or not. By default, what you actually do, by default, you just accept all the settings. I bet you 99% app on your phone, you have given privacy settings on for your, off for your camera and your microphone. That's why your app listens what you want to buy and they bombard you with the ads. That's number 1. Number 2, please do not keep your profiles open for public. Please make them private. Block, report, talk to people. If you are talking to somebody online, please ensure you're doing a video call with them. Do not talk to people on text. Do a video call. Understand the identity of the person. And last and very important thing, because I have been given only 3 points here, if you guys are on dating sites, or all the dating sites that are operating in India or around the world, please know 65% of the dating profiles have fake pictures, fake locations, wrong names, and wrong age. So when you're meeting people on the dating sites, which apparently has become the norm now, be extremely careful, because that's where the maximum vulnerabilities are exposed. So be careful, guys. You can't avoid social media, you can't avoid phones. Be careful. We're not here to scare you, but just to tell you that you've got to be a little more careful than what you usually are. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. Virendra sir, if any of these young people happen to meet a victim, what are the 2 things they should tell them to support the victim?
So one is that, as already it has been told, so the victim can always approach to that cyber website which has been launched by Government of India. So that is one thing they should always do. And second, there is always, an apprehension amongst the victims to approach police. And what they presume, and which is rightly so, that the police is not apt, they are not well equipped to handle the cyber cases. But let me tell you, in each state, there are there's a altogether different unit, cyber unit. And they take care of that. Just go and complain, and if the case is little complicated, it would be forwarded to the cyber cell. So they would take care of it. So that is what you have to do. And besides that, couple of more things that I would like to add is, one, again, because I talk about some concepts, so this is one, again, we call it sharenting. As the parents are very much used to share the pictures of the kids, that's called sharenting. But at the same time, I would request you that don't share your photographs and other things if you are doing it in public domain. You don't know in what way your pictures are going to be used. Second is sharing your location all the time. Don't do that, because you're exposing yourself. You never know, because many a times the trafficker would come to know that you're alone, where you are, what are you doing, what state of mind you are in. And third is control sharing of your feelings. Don't do that. You're exposing yourself. The best way the recruiter does is he will see what you are sharing, and they will try to console you, they will try to act as your best friend, and then gradually they would like to pull you into their dragnet. So I think that is, you have to be careful.
Thank you, Virendra ji. Pawan ji, as citizens, how can we strengthen the legal system so that there is a crime, there is a criminal, acquittal in such crime creates a sense of impunity, and therefore, as citizens, how can we strengthen the criminal justice system?
As citizens, we all have to contribute in making the cybercrime redressal system more effective. For that, amendments to the law are required, more capacity building is required amongst the law enforcement, amongst the judiciary, and more significantly, the
principles of electronic evidence that's now been established by the Supreme Court will now have to be slightly more adapted, keeping these new changed scenarios in mind. 2003, I was the counsel for India's first cybercrime conviction. When the conviction happened, we were very happy because the court convicted the guy but did not send him to jail and send him to just probation. A couple of further convictions, but then 2008, the cybercrime amendments happened under the IT Act, which made almost all cybercrimes as bailable offenses. So since then, India is seeing a massive famine of cybercrime convictions. It's time to strengthen the legal frameworks and also to strengthen the mindsets of people. I think people need to understand, as users, that internet as a phenomenon never sleeps. Internet as a paradigm never forgets. So please remember, do not do anything which is going to be haunting you for a long time. Let's learn to start inculcating cybersecurity, cyber resilience, and cyber hygiene as a way of life. Let's learn to inculcate a feeling of distrust and mistrust in our minds. Why? Because Indians are by and large very trusting people. We trust what we see online. The time has come, we must change that mindset, and we will only trust such information after we independently verified the authenticity or veracity of the same. Be safe, keep your peers safe, and ultimately, if anybody still becomes a victim of cybercrime as a way of life, the skies are not falling. Let's learn to take that cybercrime as a learning lesson. Where did you go wrong? What did you do that you should not to do? And ultimately, more capacity building will have to be the only mantra in making this cybercrime enforcement ecosystem more robust and more reliable. Thanks.
Thank you, Pavli. And finally, Lieutenant Ashutosh, what can we as citizens together do to make the cyber ecosystem more healthy?
This is the beginning. Launch of Digital Shakti 4.0. Under the able guidance of Honorable Chairperson, we have already spread our wings further. We have already covered 10 lakh and 1 million, 10 million as ma'am has already said, we will be covering in due course of time. So this is the beginning. We want, in fact, from this platform, the students, they are there, the faculty from the various colleges, they are there. Subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Facebook, NCW, in fact, to be particular, to be precise. We are sharing information related to cyber hygiene, cyber awareness in every sort of manner. Subscribe to that, listen to it, make yourself aware, and share it with your peers, with your family, so that if you are safe, your family will be safe, and ultimately the country will be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh.
Definitely. we are here, and we have our presence at Jasola, New Delhi. You are always welcome to file your complaint, and also do visit us to learn about the various kind of work, the good work which we are doing for the nation, for the women of our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. I hope each one of you all will become our ambassadors. Today we are sitting this side. We want each one of you to be sitting this side, being the ambassadors of these messages. Becoming educated is important, but to also take the responsibility of educating 2 more people in your life will continue the chain of awakening in our country, and hopefully we will have a healthy, safe world online and offline. I want to thank all my panelists, Preeti, Lieutenant Ashutosh, Pavanji, and Virendraji for a very insightful panel discussion. It was very insightful and very educative for me, and I hope it is for you too. Thank you so much.
Our sincere gratitude to all our panelists and our moderator for carrying forth this panel discussion. And it was quite well-rounded with perspectives on usage of social media, on the policy side of things, and anything and everything concerning cybersecurity. We have space for just 3 audience questions. And Ankit, my peer, is going to take the mic to whoever has a question. One request, please keep your questions very short, and it shouldn't be a statement, it should be a question. So do we have a question? We have a question right here, Ankit. Can we get the mic to ma'am? Ma'am, your name and who your question is directed to.
hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, myself, I'm Mrs. Vini Sharma. I'm an assistant professor of forensic science at Galgotias University and have been campaigning against cyberbullying from past 5 years now and successfully running a cyberdoze cell under the association with I4C, Ministry of Home, and UP Police cyberdoze cell. I have got a very small question that I have been pointing out at almost all the digital platforms that I have been attending or have been a panelist at is that whenever we are talking about social media, we talk about the social media platforms, we talk about job sites, we talk about digital dating websites. We never speak about the online role-playing games that we are having. Online role-playing games, unfortunately, not only just provide the private chat rooms, but also the public chat rooms. And it has been coming from the forensic background. I know all the intricacies that has been involved under the investigation and the analysis part also. And after training 200 plus UP police officials in the cyber forensics domain, I have come to an understanding that the constant ignoring of this platform, which is very important when it comes to the youngsters, because all of them, if they are spending 1 hour on internet, they are spending 50 minutes in an online role-playing game. And it has been a budding ground for not only just recruiting, but also for trafficking also. I would like to have a take on this from the panelists, please.
Well, I can begin by saying that these kind of platforms are still intermediaries under the IT Act, but unfortunately the specific due diligence parameters that they need to be specifically exercising and implementing are not yet notified by the government. This is a big sector. This is already polluting the minds, the innocent minds as well. And unfortunately, the innocent minds have no clue. But if we can have that slight statutory push in towards more enablement and more regulation, that could go a long way in protecting the young, innocent minds of India. Thanks.
All right, so I can see 2 more hands. Can we get the mic there, please? And I would request you to keep your question very short. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. Am I audible? Very good afternoon to honorable panelists. My name is Vinay Kunyal. I'm a final year law student from WIPS and founder of a Center of Excellence of Cyber Law in my college. So actually, I've got a question to Pawan sir as Viren sir. So as we can see, we still have got multiple cases registered under Section 66A, which has been disregarded. The question is, like, you're educating us. Are the police also educated that they don't have to register FIRs under Section 66A of the IT Act?
See, as you need to be literate about cybercrime, so equally the police also needs to be literate. They need to be educated. This is again a very, a new field for the police officers. And though we have CCTNS, but still there are many people who don't even know how to type in police stations. So you can understand if they don't have the basic knowledge, how would they handle all these cases? So that is why when there are complicated, cases coming, then we pass it on to the cyber cell. So this is one thing we do, and in each district we do have a small branch of cyber cell, the national, the state level cyber cell, which takes care of such things. Yeah.
Right, and we have space for just one last question. There is a hand right there. Can we get the mic to him, please?
Regarding the education, that we are trying to do that. Very recently, in Madhya Pradesh, if you ask me about Madhya Pradesh, we had a huge program in Bhopal where all the SPs and senior officers were invited, and they were told about all these things like CCCA and other things, so that they can go and disseminate the same information down the line to the police.
A very good afternoon, all the dignitaries present here. I am Shubham, and I am a law student from Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, sir. Sir, my question is very simple. As we are running a lot of programs for cybercrime, for controlling the students or any kind of person from becoming a victim of the social media crime or vulnerability, sir, but I want to know that how can we reach those parents, those students who are not in the metropolitan cities or who are becoming the victim of these kind of social media scams. They are playing online games, they are playing or they are chatting with different people who are operating from metropolitan cities or from rural or urban areas, but they are becoming more victims of these kind of all these scams. How can we reach to them through our initiatives, government initiatives, or the programs started by National Women Commission or any kind of authorities of the government? Thank you.
In terms of creating more capacity building, more outreach, a number of programs have been launched by the government. The National Commission for Women has been doing remarkable work in the area of trying to reach out to women in tier 2, tier 3 cities. And I think with this Digital Shakti 4.0 program, I think we're going to further reach out to those marginalized sections of the girls and the women power which have not yet been reached. But please understand, UN is telling us we are becoming the most populous nation in the world next year. So it's going to be a huge, huge challenge. And therefore, not only the government, but the private sector will also have to contribute. Cyber Peace Foundation has been doing a remarkable work through its various programs in its outreach to the various stakeholders. But ultimately, I think all of us have to join hands together. It's a huge task, but I'm sure slowly but surely we'll be able to cover the entire population. Thank you.
I'd just like to add one thing here. I just want to add one thing here. All of you have domestic workers in your house working for you, right? Why don't you start with that? Each one teach one, tell them about the safe cyber practices, tell them not to share their OTP, tell them how to use social media, tell them not to transact money on their mobile phones. I mean, that's where you can start. All of you take a responsibility of telling one person in your domestic worker family about the safe cyber practices. That's a good start.
I want to add one more thing to it. As many philosophers have already said, that there is enough to satisfy one's need, but not enough to satisfy one's greed. People in social media or in these online platforms, they are satisfying, when they are trying to satisfy their greed, they are becoming the victims of that greed. So control that and then learn things.
I mean, initiative which has been taken. As we say, the same space which can be a bane can be a boon as well. The message which has gone through that you should not share the pin has reached everyone down the line through social media. So now people are aware. Earlier they never used to know that they should use the pin, share their pin or not when they were doing transactions or whatever. So now it has reached them. And continuous bombardment is like, making them aware. It is educating it. So similarly, we have to use the social media to pass on the information, whatever we have been talking here, in crispy language and catchy language. Important is if it has to be very crispy, nobody wants to read more than just a word or two, and it has to be in catchy language. So it becomes a phrase that they memorize it. It becomes, as we call it, the muscle memory. It should go into the muscle memory. So this is what we have to do. We have to use social media if we have to increase our outreach. By these programs, by doing 10 lakh, of course it's a huge program that we are doing. I mean, what NCW is doing. But at the same time, still, if you are losing one person somewhere in a rural area, then that person is a victim. And we cannot deserve to do that. So we have to be actively and aggressively start working on social media, using it as a tool. Thank you.
Our sincere gratitude to our respective panelists for joining here this morning. आप समय निकाल यहाँ आए, हम आपके शुक्रगुजार हैं और अपने अंदाज में आपका शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहेंगे. To felicitate our panelists, may I please invite on the dais Srimati Rekha Sharma ji, Chairperson, National Commission for Women. First up, we have Mr. Virendra Mishra, AIG, SISF, Madhya Pradesh Police, and advisor, National Commission for Women. We have Mr. Pawan Dugal, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, and advisor, Cyber Peace Foundation. We have Lieutenant Ashutosh Pandey, Senior Research Officer, National Commission for Women. I know we're all waiting for lunch, but we can do better than that. Please, let's keep the energy going. Let's have a louder round of applause. And we have Ms. Preeti Chauhan, Director, Operations, Cyber Peace Foundation. Thank you so much, Rekha ma'am, for giving this panel a befitting conclusion. And I think group pictures are special. So I would request all our panelists and Rekha ma'am to join us on the dais for a group picture. And I would also request Major Vineet Kumar to join us as well. Well, while we arrange ourselves for the picture, there's one bit of important information I need to give you. So you can see a QR code right on this board at the podium where I am at. And it will give you the website and the resources that you need to stay in tune with cyber laws and cyber security and all that we've learned here this morning. So please do go ahead and make use of them. And I'd like to invite on the dais Ms. Shimoni for the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today for a wonderful panel discussion and the launch that happened here today. I am sure all of us are taking something or the other as a piece of information or learning from this entire event. If you're not, please do reach out to us if you have any queries, if we're able to answer to any of them, if we can help you through cyber-related queries or issues, that will be an honor for all of us to join hands. I would like to thank the organizers, Meta, NCW, Cyber Peace Foundation, Autobot InfoSec, and on behalf of Major Vineet Kumar, thank Vigyan Bhavan also for the kind help in organizing this entire event. In addition to that, thank you so much, dear students, for joining us. Not to forget the Cyber Peace team and the wonderful anchor, Niharika. Thank you so much. Everybody have a nice day ahead. In addition to that, I am sure all of us are waiting for the winners to be announced for quiz. Give us a loud yes. Perfect. How do you think? Who stood first? Everybody? All right. Niharika, over to you.
Well, मैं वही कहने वाली थी कि पिक्चर अभी बाकी है and we received 265 entries in the quiz, right? And we have top 2 winners. It was a difficult task, but we managed somehow. So if I can have Musku on the dais, please. That's a very sweet name, though. Jaldi, jaldi, jaldi. And to felicitate our winners, I would like to invite on the dais Mr. O.P. Singh, retired DG UP Police and currently CEO of India Child Protection Fund, which is an initiative of Kailash Satyarthi Children's Foundation. I would request Mr. O.B. Singh ji to join us on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, the first winner of the quiz competition, Muskan. I take it it's Muskan. That doesn't sound like a packed hall. A packed hall should sound like one. Yeah. the next winner. कोई guess करना चाहेगा कौन है? मुझे कोई सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है नाम. जोर से. Well, it's Justin04. That's an interesting username as well. Come on. Come up on the dais very quickly. So that's the username I have right here, Justin04. Heartiest congratulations. नहीं आप ताली बजा सकते हो जोर से हमें बुरा नहीं लगेगा and with that it's a wrap on the launch event of Digital Shakti 4.0 but the curtains are up for Digital Shakti 4.0 let's call it a day here and अब finally हमारी picture खत्म हुई well if you're brave enough to say goodbye life rewards us with a new hello so आशा है वो new hello हमें जल्दी मिलेगा this is me Niharika professional anchor and radio jockey taking your leave signing off shukriya and see you on the other side of these doors thank you so much